Reiki 2 Lesson 11, Distant or Absent Reiki Healing. The three Yasui Reiki symbols are the keys that unlock the doors to absent and distant healing. It is important to study and master these symbols. Practice drawing them until you can draw and visualize all three of them without referring to these pages. There are many ways to channel Reiki through the symbols. As you begin to practice and work with the symbols, you will discover which method you prefer. It is not important to understand how it works. Belief and the right attitude make the real difference. Leave the logical, skeptical part of your brain to one side and experience through practice how powerful and effective absent and distant healing can be. A wonderful way to prove to yourself that it works is to send distant healing to a friend's sick pet. Animals are not influenced by hype. When you discover how you're able to treat an animal by sending Reiki through the symbols, you will remove any doubts about its validity and concentrate on perfecting this profound form of healing. Preparing to send distant Reiki healing. With practice, you'll be able to send Reiki healing energy at will, whenever it's required. You'll be able to perform a distant healing session no matter what the environment or location you find yourself in, or no matter what distractions may be around you at the time. You will have the ability through practice to simply filter out everything else and focus in on the job at hand, sending Reiki to a person, place or event, etc. This ability can be extremely useful, especially if you need to send Reiki in the event of an emergency, and you find yourself out shopping or at work or at a sporting event, etc., for example. Initially, when you first practice distant healing, try to follow these guidelines below to help you connect and perform with the healing session correctly. Find a quiet place and ensure you have enough time so you won't be interrupted. You need to focus on the following. Decide on the distant healing method you're going to use to send Reiki before you begin the session, so you can, when ready, smoothly perform the distant healing for the recipient. Begin by grounding yourself and connecting with Reiki, the universal life force. Just like an in-person Reiki session, you will need to connect with Reiki so that you're in the best position mentally and spiritually to channel Reiki. If you need to, please refer to Reiki 1 Video Lesson 9, Preparing to Treat Others with Reiki. Remember to remove the ego. You are just a channel for Reiki, which will be doing the work and will be traveling across time and space to connect you with the recipient of the distant healing. Ensure you feel the flow of Reiki before you connect with the recipient and start sending Reiki to them. Once you feel the connection with the universal life force, start transmitting the healing Reiki energy using the method you've decided upon earlier. Remember, all methods will work, so try them all so you can decide on your favorite method to use in the future. Keep the distant healing session going for as long as you intuitively feel it should continue. It makes no difference whether it lasts 5 minutes or an hour. Reiki will go where it's needed and continue to work even after you've closed the session down. An average distant healing session will last about 15 minutes. There is no right or wrong way in distant healing. The key, as always, is in the intention. Always end the Reiki distant healing session with a positive envisioning of the person, place, event or situation you focus on. Go ahead and imagine a different scenario for your own past. After all, your past has an influence on your present thoughts and emotions. Allow Reiki to influence your thoughts and emotions in a new, inspired way. After your distant healing session, release the outcome to the infinite wisdom and infinite love or spirit. Your intellect may know or not know what the best possible outcome is, but Reiki always knows. Make sure you remember to disconnect from the recipient once the session is completed, and wash your hands in cold running water if possible, depending on your location. Always drink a glass of cold water to help ground yourself. Popular methods used to send Reiki distant healing. When you first practice distant healing, it is always best to follow a pre-arranged format that you feel comfortable with so you can remain relaxed and focused on the healing session rather than the mechanics of what you are doing. Practice makes permanent. Like learning to drive a car, in the beginning it can seem overwhelming to think about all the things you need to do and remember to keep the car on the road safely. Within a short space of time, through repetition and practice, you permanently encode the mechanics of driving in your subconscious, and you can enjoy the experience of driving. Likewise, once you've mastered the mechanics of performing a distant healing session, you'll be able to just relax and focus on the healing session, and not on what you need to do next. It will become automatic. As you grow in confidence, you can begin to rely more on your intuition to guide you during the future distant healing sessions. Because you don't have the recipient in front of you when you're performing the distant healing, you need to find a way to see what is going on during the distant healing session. Listed below are a number of substitute methods you can use to help you visualize or represent the distant Reiki recipient in your mind. The surrogate method. You can literally use anything as a surrogate to channel Reiki. The most important thing you must do is clearly specify that the surrogate is taking the place of whoever or whatever you're sending Reiki to during the invocation. A photograph, cushions, dolls, teddy bears, pens, crystals, or the details of the person or thing written on a piece of paper are all good examples of a surrogate. Many Reiki practitioners have their favorite surrogate and use it all the time for their distant and absent healing. If you have a soft toy that you cherish, try using that. A ball or small globe can be used as a surrogate to channel Reiki to Mother Earth. We always Reiki our car before each journey by using the car's steering wheel as a surrogate for the car. When we treat people using a surrogate, we prefer to use a teddy bear, as we are able to work more precisely on the various hand positions and chakras. For example, if a person has a sore or left injured leg, we spend more time treating the surrogate teddy bear's left leg. Let us assume, for example, you want to channel Reiki to your mother, who is in hospital in another part of the country or world. Find a photograph of your mother, write down her name, the hospital she's been admitted to, and the hospital ward or room number on a piece of paper. Telephone your mother and ask her for permission to send healing to her. Choose a time between yourselves when you both will be able to relax and won't be disturbed. Place the photo and the piece of paper in your hands. If no one is able to see or hear you, make your normal invocation aloud, adding also that the photo and the piece of paper are to be used as a surrogate for your mother. Important point explaining what a rider is. A rider is similar to a caveat. When you're calling upon Reiki, the universal life force, to help heal our friends, clients, etc., we must remember that we do not control or know what is in the best interest of that client or friend, etc. We remove our ego and let Reiki and its infinite wisdom do what is needed based on the client's best interest, not our perception of what we think is best for them. So the rider hands responsibility back to Reiki to do what is needed and go where it is needed. Sometimes you will discover in your future Reiki practice that it's not the right time for whatever reason for that person to receive healing. This can be frustrating, especially if the person you want to send healing to is a close family member or friend. But you must respect their higher self's reason for not accepting or wanting healing. So you must always try to ask permission first before you send healing, or at least add the rider should it be for their higher good. Focus your attention on your mother and visualize or imagine her lying in a hospital bed or sitting in a chair depending on what you've arranged with her. Holding the photo and piece of paper in your non-dominant hand, draw the full Reiki sandwich over the top with your dominant hand. Remember to intone the Reiki symbols 3 times and add the rider should it be for a higher good. Close your hands together and imagine sending healing lights to your mother. Keep your hands closed for at least 5 minutes. As you become more experienced, you'll be able to intuitively work with the different energy levels. Once you've sent the Reiki, take a moment to visualize or imagine your mother getting better. See her leave the hospital and make a full recovery. Trust in the power and wisdom of Reiki to make your vision into a reality. Complete the treatment by thanking the universal life force and any guides or helpers who assisted you in the treatment. Remember, the recipient is drawing the Reiki and doing the healing. You are just a channel. They need to be aware and ready to work with you in the healing process. Make sure that they take the time each day to relax and are open to receiving Reiki. If the recipient is not able to spend too much time relaxing each day, you can specify an agreed time for the Reiki treatment to last. All you need to do is write down the agreed length of time for the treatment on a piece of paper. This process, like the normal full hands-on treatment, should be repeated at least 4 times over 4 consecutive days. To save yourself time, you can set up the 4 healing sessions in one go. Simply write on a piece of paper, in addition to the recipient's name and address, the time and dates you wish the Reiki energy to be channeled to them. So if you want to send Reiki for 4 days, for instance, you would write the 4 days and the 4 times of those sessions. You will only need to spend one 5 to 10 minute session channeling Reiki to your client so they receive it over the 4 different days. Remember, the symbols transcend time and space. As long as the recipient takes the time each day to tune into your Reiki signal, they will receive and benefit from the universal life force. Obviously, the stronger your intent and the more time you spend sending Reiki, the stronger and more profound it will be. Like all the treatments, the more practice and experience you gain, the easier and stronger it will get. The thigh and knee method. Another method often used for absent or distant healing is the thigh and knee method. You will need to be seated to perform this treatment. Make your right knee and thigh the surrogate for the head and front of your client. Your right knee is the client's head, your right mid-thigh is your client's body, and the rest of your right thigh is your client's legs and feet. The left knee and thigh represents the back of your client's head and body. Your left knee is the back of your client's head, your mid-left thigh is your client's back, and the rest of your left thigh represents the back of your client's legs and feet. Please see illustration. The treatment takes approximately 15 minutes to complete. Using your left hand for the left knee and thigh and your right hand for the right knee and thigh, work on the 3 positions for about 5 minutes each. Draw, visualize, or imagine the 3 Yasui symbols, the full Reiki sandwich, on each hand position. Remember to intone the words of each Reiki symbol 3 times. Complete the treatment as normal by thanking the universal life force and finally sweep your client's aura by rubbing your thighs and knees. Visualization techniques. There are two basic ways of using visualization to perform absent or distant healing. The first involves visualizing or imagining the person you wish to treat with Reiki. For example, let's assume you want to treat a close friend who's in hospital. Close your eyes and make your invocation. Repeat your friend's name 3 times to focus your mind and establish a connection between yourself and your friend in hospital. Transport your friend from the hospital and visualize or imagine them in a miniature form resting in the palms of your hands. Open your eyes and project the symbols from your third eye onto your friend resting in the palm of your hands. Alternatively, you can place your friend in one hand and draw the symbols over your friend with the other hand. Remember to intone the words 3 times and add the rider should it be for their highest good. Now gently cup your hands together, keeping your hands closed for 5 to 10 minutes or until you intuitively feel the treatment is complete. Open your hands and visualize or imagine your friend making a full recovery. Visualize or imagine a healing light enveloping your friend. Close your eyes and transport your friend back to the hospital. Say goodbye, leaving the healing light with them to continue and complete the healing session. Complete the treatment by thanking the universal life force and make sure to wash your hands in cold running water. Alternative visualization technique. For this example, let's assume you want to treat a friend's child who has chickenpox. If you also have children, you probably don't want to risk infecting them by treating your friend's child in person. Close your eyes and visualize or imagine being in your friend's home. In your imagination, visualize the child lying down on a bed or sitting down in a chair. Make your invocation and then project the 3 Reiki Yusui symbols onto the child. Conduct a full hands-on treatment in your mind. Visualize or imagine a healing light enveloping the child. Say goodbye, leaving the healing light with them to continue and complete the healing process. Complete the treatment by thanking the universal life force. Return to your home or office. Open your eyes and remember to wash your hands under cold running water.